Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome back to my Astrology 101 series. And today, we're going to explore the sun, the moon, and the dwarf. Now, if this is the first time you've found me, hello and welcome to my channel. I do have a whole series on astrology, and we're exploring, bite-sized pieces of the cosmos. Now, I will put a card above and a link below to my Astrology 101 series so that you can go back in and fill in some of those blanks. And we're going to start off today with the dwarf, Pluto. A little bit of science behind Pluto. It is now considered a dwarf planet. Scientists boo, hiss, and should be burned at the stake have reclassified it in 2006 down to its size and its inability to clear debris. It is 1/6 the size of the moon. Scientists have reclassified it. Astrology, we have not. It is a planet. Pluto is made up of primarily ice and rock, and it takes a mere 248 years to orbit the sun. In the right-hand corner, it kind of looks like a person holding up their hands, or the female sign holding up their hands. That's the symbol of Pluto. Now, some mythology behind the planet. It is named after the Roman god Pluto, who is the god of the underworld, the god of the dead, and of riches, who is connected to the Greek god Hades, who is also the god of the underworld and is associated with wealth and the afterlife. So just another way of saying the god of the dead and riches. And of course, we have this beautiful sculpture of Pluto in the top right-hand corner with his dog Cerberus, the three-headed dog. Now, Pluto is connected to the major arcana Death. I'm a tarot girl, so we had to go there. It is also connected in and associated with the colors of dark purple, dark red, and black. Crystals associated with Pluto: smoky quartz, black obsidian, and sugilite. When we're working with Pluto, Pluto is the planet of transformation and rebirth. Additionally, depending on where Pluto rises, you are going to see some hidden depths of power and regeneration. Pluto will help you and challenge you to face your fears, release limiting beliefs, and empowers you to embrace change. Pluto does help with profound personal growth and harnessing your inner strength. Pluto does encourage you to confront your deepest fears and tap into your potential. Helps to awaken deep emotions and unearth those hidden desires. Now, when Pluto goes into retrograde, as it does, there is that inner power struggle. A lot of naysaying and limiting beliefs. Many times because in a retrograde, we go internal, we suppress anger and other emotions. Many times we do have issues with control and power. And because Pluto does deal with some of society's underbelly aspects, death, abuse, control, meaningless loss, and because Pluto does deal with some taboo aspects, you are going to have some of that underbelly of, so the death, the abuse, the control, meaningless loss. So it's going to come to the surface and it's going to trigger some of that trauma, which can result in some existential crises. All right, let's look at Pluto in your birth chart. So wherever it does rise, it does highlight your inherent power and potential for rebirth. Pluto is known for its intensity, so wherever it's coming in, indicates an area of life where you will face the biggest challenges, which will lead to the most profound growth, hence the rebirth. Now, is that an easy thing, even though it's indirect? No. Transformation can feel very chaotic. Releasing those old patterns and unlocking deep strength can feel really icky, can be pretty hard to deal with. However, it is important. It does awaken deep emotions and unearths hidden desires, both positive and not so positive. Now, you kind of have almost a 50-50 chance of Pluto being in retrograde. So annually, you're looking at Pluto being in retrograde for about 5 to 6 months, depending on the year, as it depends on where we're at on Earth and where Pluto is in its orbit. Now, because we have Pluto in retrograde, this gives us an amazing opportunity to do some shadow work, dive below the surface, and become better acquainted with ourselves, especially with our psychic and subconscious areas. Now, this will depend on where Pluto is rising in your birth chart. However, again, we are connected into that psychic subconscious area. Sometimes it's meaningful, depending on the area, and sometimes it's not. Additionally, this is a wake-up call. When you have Pluto in retrograde, there's not a lot of, should I deal with my shadow side? It's more of a smack upside the head. You're going to deal with the shadow side. When Pluto is in retrograde, there is a difficult relationship with power. How you deal with other people that have power and control over you. And a lot of times when other people are very much that dictator, opposed to confronting them, it's a lot of just shrinking into the shadows. Additionally, how you control that power. And again, it's going to depend. You may be that authoritarian, it's got to be my way because I know better. So depending on where Pluto in retrograde rises, it's going to highlight the area of life that's going to need the most releasing. Pluto in retrograde demands that you release what is no longer serving you. And those releases, they're going to be highlighted in what part of your astrological birth chart that Pluto in retrograde rises in. This does sum up all the planets. Now, that said, I will explain the different houses and how the planets and zodiac interrelate in that house at a later date. And we're going to go on to the sun because it is an important element in your astrological birth chart. Now, the science behind it. The sun, of course, is the center of our universe. It is the symbol of the divine masculine energy, and it is the life force on Earth. Now, this circle with the dot in it, that is the symbol you will see in your astrological birth charts or any astrological worksheets or books. Now, the sun is connected into the Roman god Sol, who is the personification of the sun. Very much connected into the Greek god Helios, again, personification of the sun, who drove the chariot across the sky to pull the sun from sunrise to sunset. And in the right-hand corner, there is a disc that depicts the Roman god Sol. Very common to see these sun gods in artwork that is disc-shaped. Now, this is probably not surprising to anybody. The major arcana connected to the sun would be the sun. The colors connected to the sun, yellow and any warm colors. Crystals to work with the sun, of course, sunstone, tiger's eye, and howlite. When you have the sun in your chart, Wherever it rises, this is your sun sign. It represents your core essence, your individuality, and your unique self-expression. The moon. Of course, the moon, we know where it is. We look outside our window and there it is. The moon is a spiritual symbol of the divine feminine. Now, there are 8 phases to the moon, and each of them have different meanings. It takes about 27.3 days for the moon to orbit the Earth. However, it takes 29.5 days for the moon to go throughout its full cycle. Now, this crescent moon shape, it can be either form of the crescent moon, will be the symbol of the moon in your astrological birth chart or any astrology worksheets or books. And the mythology behind the moon, of course, we're looking at the Roman goddess Luna, who was the divine embodiment of the moon, and also the Greek goddess Selene, who pulled the moon across the sky so that the moon would orbit around the Earth. And this is a little statue in the right-hand corner of the Roman goddess Luna. Again, this is not surprising. The major arcana, the moon. The colors connected into the moon, white, red, blue, and purple. The crystals associated with the moon, moonstone, clear quartz, and lapis lazuli. Now, the moon phases represent the natural ebb and flow of life, and it symbolizes transformation and renewal. The moon is also a symbol of self-reflection and introspection. Of course, the moon is connected to our intuition. The moon in your chart, it plays a crucial role in understanding your emotions and your inner world, as it is your moon sign. Now, I do want to go through the different phases of the moon. It doesn't necessarily impact your astrological birth chart. However, going forward, if you want to work with the lunar energy, knowing what each phase is connected to will help you be able to work better with that lunar energy. So, of course, starting off with the new moon, this is the new beginnings. It does give you an opportunity for personal growth and is an amazing time to set some intentions. The waxing crescent, again, setting some intentions, but also starting to take action towards those goals you've set. It does encourage persistence and patience. The first quarter, overcoming challenges. It's a great time to work with the balance between inner wisdom and outer action. The waxing gibbous moon, refinement and fine-tuning. When you work with this moon, it helps to increase your energy and momentum. It also encourages you to focus in on your intentions and, again, taking that action, fine-tuning things and refining things so you can get some work done. The full moon, manifestation and celebration. It's an amazing time to celebrate those completions and fulfillments. And if you're looking to release some energies and things that are not serving you, the full moon is when you want to do it. Moving on to the waning gibbous, gratitude and reflection. This is a great time to check into where you're at. Reflect into your progress and make necessary adjustments so that you know you're going to be successful. The last quarter, releasing and forgiveness. This is a time of ending a natural cycle in life. Amazing time to work on some self-forgiveness and releasing so that you can have that ending that you need and want. And finally, the waning crescent, rest, reflection, and healing. During the waning crescent, this is a great time for solitude and deep spiritual renewal and some self-love and care that is muchly needed right now. And finally, we're looking at some very extraordinary moons. And of course, many of us know about the blue moon, which is the second full moon in a calendar month. This is an amazing time for new beginnings, completion, and transformation. Manifestation is heightened during this full moon. Inner reflections and a continuation of releasing. Now, of course, the blue moon, that's the name of the second moon. So you will have the natural moon for that calendar month. This one sneaks in usually at the very beginning or the very end of the month. And doesn't happen very often. Usually every 2.4 years, you have a blue moon. Hence that old adage, it happens once in a blue moon. Now, something that isn't as well known is what's called a black moon. That's the second new moon in a month. This is an amazing time for self-reflection and self-honesty. And if you're looking to do some intention setting and some much needed emotional releasing, a black moon is a fantastic time to do this. Now, a black moon happens even less than a blue moon. And I think that's why we don't know about it as much. A black moon comes in every 2.4 years. So you're looking at a very rare phenomenon. So when it does come in, this is something to celebrate and use to your advantage. And that's what I want to do, is give you guys the information and tools so that you can use these things to your advantage. I've gone through the well-known celestial bodies in our universe. My next step, some of the lesser known, and I can't wait. It's going to be fun. That is what's going to happen next on my Astrology 101 sessions. I want to thank you guys for joining me today and exploring the sun, the moon, and that dwarf. I hope that you found this helpful in understanding these unique bodies that are in our cosmos. Now, if you did like this session, please do give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought. Where is that sneaky Pluto in your astrological birth chart? And guys, if you're looking for an added layer of support, including cheat sheets and notes to all my 101 sessions, I do have a Patreon community. I have provided a link below, so you can come check it out. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in this dance with the sun and the moon, and that beautiful little dwarf planet of ours. Until tomorrow, my friends.